Step 3, it says, to apply the stickers to the front. So I'm going to turn this around here. So this here should end up looking like that. So let's back over here. There. So I'm going to peel off the stickers. There we go. Then next to the switch, so you know which part to put it on to switch between play and record. And then there's a nice little ScienceWiz kit sticker to remind you that it's a ScienceWiz kit. So that over there. And you notice this switch, this play and record switch, it actually has a switch box on the back here that goes to these different chords. So you've got this red chord here, it's going to end up going to your on-off switch, and this red chord here that goes, this black chord here, that's going to go to the motor. So that's going to be able to allow you to switch between play and record. So I'll put that there. So now I need to find the motor. So here's my motor here. And on it I'm going to put the small white pulley. So in with screws, in with the record needle, I have put small white pulley. Now we found when we opened our other kit that the small white pulley that we used in this one had a big plastic hump, and you can see this one has a little bit of a plastic hump on it, but it's not too bad. If you find that your pulley is not completely smooth, you will have to sand it down with some sandpaper, and that helps a lot with running the motor. It helps the belts turn smoothly. So that's something I highly recommend. So go ahead, and I'm going to put the pulley onto the motor. Here, the pulley onto the motor. There we go. Smush it down on there. There we are. Okay, so your motor comes with a black wire and a red wire there, and we want to put the motor in properly, so we want to make sure that it's turned the right way around, because what it's going to do is it's going to turn, take these off here, these up. You can see the motor there. See, the motor is going to turn that pulley that's going to turn the recording cylinder there. So it's back. We're going to put the motor with the pulley on it into the unit. Let's move some of these things out of the way. So I've got my motor here. I want to make sure that the pulley is facing this sort of dipped part here, because this second pulley is going to go in this other spot. So you want to make sure the little pulley is facing away from the battery compartment and toward that nice curvy bit. So I'm going to go ahead and put the motor in. So you might notice that it's a little bit tricky to get these wires under where you have to strap the motor in. So let's get the motor strapped in here. So make sure that the wires, you can see that, make sure that the wires are pointing out back toward the battery compartment. So now we just need to find this part. So that clamp is going to clamp the motor in on top of the motor there. The other tricky part to this, I've noticed, is actually lining the holes up, especially with the wires. Sometimes you got to play around with it to make sure that you have the wires so that they're not interfering there. So put that there. I'm going to find two of the regular flat screws in here. Now if these came in separate, maybe they came in separate bags and I didn't notice, but if the screws came a little bit more well marked, that would be better. I think I would have an easier time with it. Maybe I'm going to go ahead and screw these on. So the other thing that you might find useful in a build like this is a flashlight or one of those hats with a flashlight attached to the top so you can see what you're doing. So I just need to find the hole. There we go. Get the other screw in loosely before I do anything else here. There we go, and this is where the magnetized screwdriver comes in handy. So it can hold that little tiny screw in place. These screws are very tiny. So here we go. Screw the motor down. There we are. So I've got the motor screwed down, I've got my wires coming off the back, and I've got the pulley off toward the side with the curve in it. And then the next step, it says, is to hook up the wires to the battery wires. So this is actually pretty self-explanatory. This is a step that I like. These are actually done pretty well. So you go ahead and plug the red cord into red cord and feed that open wire through, and it kind of snaps into place, which is nice. And then we take the black cord and snap that in to this black cord here. There we are. So those two wires are now in place, and we've got to get them out of the way of the battery compartment, because eventually that battery compartment is going to have a door on it. Those sort of off to the side. Can kind of squish those down in. Okay, so that's the motor. The motor's been put in, and it's got the little pulley on it. So the next part, step 8, is to take your two belts, the yellow belt, and remember the thin black belt. This is the thin one. And we're going to go ahead and put the yellow belt under the here and the black belt under there. And you can see in the one I've already assembled that eventually you're going to end up putting the black belt around the pulley, and this yellow belt is going to come on and off the recording cylinder, which you can take out. So you're going to end up taking that on and off quite a bit. So we've got our two belts in place there. And next step is step 9, where we've looped the yellow and the black belts around the second between the two posts. So you want them looped around the post closer to the curvy bit. And then we want to take our double pulley, and we want the larger end on the motor side and the smaller end on the open side. So you're essentially going to have this little bitty pulley pulling that larger pulley, and this smaller pulley pulling the great big recording cylinder. So we're going to go ahead and screw that in. So it comes with just the two little clamps. Just find the two little clamps. They may have fallen out. Hang on, let me find the two little clamps that come with it. And we need 4 screws. I'm pretty sure these are flat screws because it only comes with 4 pointy screws, and you're going to need a pointy screw later for the on-off switch. So hold on a moment. Find, there they are. They've gone into there. So you've got these two little clamps that are going to go on either side of the pulley. Now this can actually make a difference, these clamps, on how smoothly this runs as well. So you may have to experiment with these. So make sure they go on top. There we are. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a couple of more screws. ahead and screw that down. So this is going to be screwed down in here. Oops, just lost the clamp there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and again, some of these parts are very fiddly, so if you're doing this with a child, I find that sometimes they get a little bit distracted during these parts that are fiddly because they seem to take a while. So we go ahead and find where this hole is. Hold on. Line that up. Nope. This part's a little frustrating, I gotta say. These parts are small. There we go. Magnetized screwdriver comes in handy. There we go. And on the other side. So, screw on the end of my magnetized screwdriver. Go. Now notice you've got to remember to put these belts in before you put those clamps down, because that way the belts stay in. Now you want to make sure that that pulley still spins. It does appear to spin. Hopefully it'll spin smoothly. You may have to loosen these when we get to the motor part. Okay, so that part is done.